What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Coffee with Dudes. Just solo duding it today. Alex and I just got back from Vegas. He was there for a concert. I was there for a HYROX competition. We just missed each other, but I know he has a solo pod this week, and I do as well. So before I do a whole deep dive on the HYROX event and how that went, I did want to pull one little nugget from there that I was experiencing, and I figured it would be great to share here on the show. So that thing that I experienced was, and maybe you can put yourself in this scenario as well, that maybe it wasn't during a HYROX event, but maybe you've experienced this either during a workout, during a trip, during something that you're engaged in that is tough and is challenging, and that is the feeling or willingness to want to give up. And so I experienced that multiple times throughout this past weekend. If you've ever done a long workout, those of you that don't know, a HYROX race or workout is give or take around an hour. You're going to go at least an hour, unless you're part of the elite pro division. You're going to go, maybe sub that, but you're going to be pretty darn close in the ballpark of an hour. So prepare yourself to move for that long. And obviously I'd been training leading up to that, but I'd be lying if I say there's multiple times during that workout where I just wanted to stop. The goal was to continue moving no matter what. So that meant that you couldn't walk anywhere. You had to jog from station, jog and run in the workout. And then when you're transitioning, you had to run as well. So that was my goal, is to not walk anywhere. And so there was multiple times where I wanted to just completely stop. And for me, that was not an option. And so when everything in you and physically is, your body is screaming at you, telling you to stop, you're physically exhausted, you're breathing heavy, it feels like there's no oxygen in the air, right? You feel like your heart's pounding, your mouth's dry, you're sweating like crazy, extremely uncomfortable, right? Those of you that have been there know that feeling. And everything in you is telling you to stop, to chill, to relax, to calm down. And although that's not necessarily a bad thing to do that, but if you set a certain standard for yourself and you want to adhere to that standard and you don't want to give into it because you want to set an example of, you're somebody who, when you say you're going to do something, you follow through and you hold tight to that self accountability, that was in play this weekend extremely strong. And so it got me to thinking about a whole different scenarios. This just happened to be during a workout. This could be during any sort of challenging event or, occurrence that you're going through. There's going to be parts of it, if it is challenging, if it truly is, if like on paper you say it's challenging, but then like you're like, oh, this is actually really easy and fun and enjoy. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the things that for a fact are extremely challenging. And they could be, we're talking more physically in this realm, but they could be mentally as well too. The thing where you're like, it's tough for me to continue to persevere through this without taking some sort of break or stopping. Am I saying a break or stopping is bad or is unacceptable? No. But for the particular individuals out there who set out to do something and they want to stick to it regardless of how they feel, understand those limiting doubts, those feelings of, it's okay to stop, right? You almost try to like convince yourself that it's okay. It's okay just to take a little break. It's okay to do this, And if that's you and you always want to take a break during tough and challenging things, great. If you have set a standard for yourself and you're like, hey, I'm gonna set out I'm gonna stick to what I set out to do, no ifs, ands, or buts. And that was this weekend for me. And it was extremely challenging. And I kept going back to chunking that particular workout down into small digestible steps. And we talk about this with our clients as well. Like when they struggle with the nutrition piece, and it's like, there is some flexibility in there, but I'm talking to the people who are setting a goal and a standard for themselves and they're trying to obtain it, not just kind of like casually going through the motions with things. Because I think there's two different approaches here. So I'm talking to the people who are really, really going after something. They're extremely committed and they want to stick out and follow through on what they said they do. Most of the time, because this is an opportunity for some people, for a lot of people who actually draw a line in the sand and commit for themselves versus the person who, we always say actions speak louder than words. The person that says they're going to do something and 2, 3, 4 days in, a week into their New Year's resolution, they've already given up. They've already given in because it's too hard. And they just threw in the towel right away. So you have to have the ability and the muscle to be able to flex, hypothetically speaking, that you could set out to do something that you truly know is going to challenge you and say, hey, there's no if, ands, or buts. I'm going to see this all the way through. And there was multiple times during the weekend where I just flat out wanted to stop. I wanted to just stand there. I wanted to lay down, right? And so you just know that those thoughts and those emotions and those feelings are going to be amplified anytime you set out to do something that's extremely uncomfortable. It's normal. It's the norm. And finding comfort in knowing that that's okay, that you are going to experience those things. You are going to experience those limiting beliefs. You are going to experience your body in panic saying, hey, chill, hit the eject button, stop, it's okay, right? All these like justifying thoughts that pop into your head that are pointing that direction. But there's also just as many thoughts, if you choose to look for them, that'll allow you to keep going. And I think that's the big takeaway from this weekend is the thoughts that were limiting were amplified. They were loud. They were screaming at me. Just as much so, I had to actively dig a little bit deeper to find them. But then it was, okay, you can get through this next 50 yards. You can get through to this next station. You can focus on your arm swing technique and you can focus on keeping your breathing nice and calm just till you get to the next turn, right? Little things like that where you can chunk them down into smaller digestible things. Steps along this, instead of looking at like an hour workout, look at it as little chunks and then that are digestible. Same thing with like somebody who is looking to lose weight, to lose body fat. And they're like, oh man, I have to revamp the entire kitchen, my entire grocery list. Like if you can do that and you got the willpower to do it, great. But maybe it's shorter, smaller, digestible steps that you're not willing to budge on regardless of how busy your week is, right? Maybe it is meal prepping 4 out of the 7 days of the week to start and at least have a good quality source of protein with each meal during those 4 days. Something small, like, and I'm just using that as an example because that was one of my clients, but like something that is digestible and palatable for you individually that you know is going to challenge you and stretch you a little bit, but you can stick to it no matter what. That's what I recommend breaking this down into. And when I was hitting the wall, so to speak, and these thoughts were coming in my head of, hey, stop, hey, put on the brakes, it's cool, right? Just chill. Those were extremely loud, but I realized that I also had the ability to turn up my volume on the beliefs that were beneficial for me in that journey and in that experience. And those were just a little bit further. You got a couple more reps, right? Chunk it down into smaller breaks. Focus on your stride. Focus on keeping your body position in your head and your torso nice and tall so you can get air in. Like breaking things down mechanically into smaller thought processes allowed me to continue to keep going. It almost acts as like a distraction for a lot of it. But just the second where you start to slip and lose that thought or lose those beliefs, the limiting ones start to turn up even louder. And so it's this battle back and forth and back and forth. And if you've never been exposed to something like that, it is a challenge. It will slap you in the face, but there's a cool part about it too, knowing that you can overcome that, knowing that you can silence that loud volume of those limiting voices in your head. And so just wanted to share that this weekend. We'll dive in more, but I wanted to just at least get that off my chest. Alex and I will be back together on a pod here shortly. I'm excited for that. I'm pumped for that. As always, if you guys have questions, we love hearing from you. We will be posting a pod every single week. And if you felt like this was beneficial or you wanted to share with somebody that you know, like, and love, could at least get some value from this golden nugget, all that we ask is that you share it with them. And we love hearing from you guys. So tune in and we will see you guys on the next one.